a village. I took a .30 caliber bullet through my right foot, holding it. And I took another .30 caliber through my right shoulder. It went through my lung and it severed my spinal cord, paralyzing me permanently from here down. I can't move or feel anything from here down. It's numb and it's as dead as anybody who's died in the war in Vietnam. What has happened is the recon vehicle is now on its way to San Diego. It's been gone for over an hour and a half. The recon vehicle is going to go to get the San Diego people from Texas Way and is going to take them down 2 or 3 off-ramps to where there's a bunch of gas stations and stuff, okay? Now, at that off-ramp, there'll be a blackboard set up. Now, that blackboard will have VVAW, last patrol, will have the whole smear on it, and it'll be sitting out the side of the road so that you can catch up with us. Did you say you were going to?
He's taking a picture. What the hell?
I gotta get that radio. We'll hook the radio up last, man, when he gets back.
I'm scared of it. Isn't that stupid?
But you don't know how to hook it to the radio?
Well, we gotta get it out of Jack's car.
Oh, Ron said...
Do you know how to hook up a radio? Yeah, they do. Well, I guess he was the last vehicle. But that's all they could do. They probably ran a red light.
Well, they did.
They didn't do anything?
They did run a red light.
Because of the condition they left.
They're going to house us all the way down. They started with the last one. They're going to keep killing people off doing that.
Okay, you're back in, right?
Yeah.
Do you let them search?
Yeah.
When anybody else gets stopped, all right, to hassle with the pigs, we'll have that last car back there. You know, that red Fiat that was tailing. We'll stop and find out why you're being stopped, okay? We'll try to check out and try to help you. At that point, the rest of the convoy is going to have to continue on.
August 15th, 1972. A group of Vietnam veterans prepared to depart from California State University at Northridge on a historic last patrol to the Republican National Convention in Miami, 5 days and 3,000 miles away across the southern United States. Similar convoys are leaving from Salt Lake, Detroit, Chicago, and New York, meeting their brothers and sisters along the route and converging on Miami.
Stay in your car. What's just the drivers up here? Just the drivers. Everybody else stay in the car. Get them out. Did I move it up? I spent about a week in the intensive care ward in Da Nang. I saw people totally destroyed by this war. I saw babies who had been napalmed by American planes. I heard them scream every night. I saw a Korean civilian who lost both of his legs, one of his arms, and had 2 fingers, and used to wave it over his head and scream and moan. I still have nightmares thinking of this guy screaming, you know. And there was a Green Beret who died of spinal meningitis, and a black pilot who died right next to me while I was writing a letter home to my family, USO volunteer. Lucy Colwell was helping me, and this black pilot just died, and they jumped up on his chest, and they started beating on his chest, you know, as hard as they could. And then they got this electric shock machine, and they shocked his heart, and his body kept arching up, and his face kept bloating up, and his whole body looked like a balloon, and he had fluid coming out of his eyes. And then all the people around him, the Coleman that was pounding on his chest, all these people were working furiously to save this man's life, you know, and they started joking and laughing. It's the only thing they could do. They'd go crazy. And they put a sheet over his head, and they took him out, and they brought another man in. And I spent 7 days in that place. I was on morphine every 2 hours. And they put me in a circuit electric bed, had tubes in my chest, tubes in my feet. They were draining. My lung had collapsed after the bullet passed through my lung and collapsed. And I laid there for about 6 days. I listened to people scream and moan. I saw people who would never walk again, people who would never see again. Men, women, children, totally destroyed by the war. It is very important that you gas up right now, that you get all the water that you need. Make sure that you have plenty of water. And foreign cars and small cars, it is advisable that you get fan belts, extra fan belts.
Selling your soul out for what you are taught is the right thing. But at the same time, you should know better. So what this trip does, I suppose, is work off our guilt for the crimes we have done, and that our parents and the establishment want to reward us for. We expect that we should have a great effect on the people across the country. We expect to let them know how we feel and why. But most of all, it's probably working off our guilt. You see, I feel that the main issue in this campaign is the 10 Commandments, and they aren't even dealing with that. Nixon will win, but this country will lose. We're losing every day. Lose the war, lose your soul. It's sad, man, sad, but we're the biggest losers. Unwanted children. Someday soon the peace will come. But you see, the damage has already been done. It's corrupted America. And they'll pay for this war.
I think it's a good idea from now on that you think twice about where you stop. Because this place here looks like it oppresses Indians.
Establishment about this, man.
That's it. On the other side, man. Just gonna go on the on-ramp over there.
For so long now, people that have spoken out against this war in Vietnam have been classified under all different kinds of derogatory terms, ranging from cowards to communists. And I think that as veterans, we hold a credibility. In fact, I think that we're the most patriotic force of people in this country. I don't think patriotism means hanging American flags all over your car and saying love it or leave it.
One newspaper editor comments, "Is all this planned? Of course it is. It is the great brainwashing project through which the communists hope to prepare the United States for easy plucking. We don't say that every radical campus speaker takes orders direct from Moscow, but they are under some form of discipline so that the program is kept moving." Another fact is that the graduates of these colleges are today entering the ranks of public school teachers and giving this communist poison to the boys and girls they are teaching. This is Freedom Talk number 25, printed copies 2 for 25 cents.
Grapefruit.
lemons, limes, or plants with you. Thank you kindly. Good day.
Well, what we have to do is we have to find out, are we going to crap out in Bowie? If we're going to crap out in Bowie, we may be driving until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Do you folks have any live plants or fresh citrus fruit with you?
No, sir.
Thank you kindly. Good day.
If you need any help in the back, our truck will stay behind because we can pick up next to
But I don't know if I want to go back into this society again. This society lied to me, lied to my brothers, deceived all the people of this country, tricked them into going 13,000 miles to fight a war against the poor peasant people who have a proud history of resistance, who have been struggling for their own independence for 4,000 years, the Vietnamese people. No, I don't know if I want my brothers to readjust to this American society. It sickens me. It sickens me. It sickens me. I can't find words to express how the leadership of this government sickens me. Now, people say, well, you know, if you don't love America, well, get the hell out. Well, I love America. I love the people of America, and I love this country that we're going across right now. I mean, I love that very much. But when it comes to the government, it stops right there. The government, a bunch of corrupt thieves, liars, rapists, robbers, uncomparable in the history of the world. The Vietnam veteran has a basic faith in the American people, and the Vietnam veteran, I think, wants to change the priorities of this country from murdering and slaughtering people for profit in Vietnam to taking care of our own interests back in this country, and primarily the interests of all the people in this country, not just a small few that would make a profit in a war that is genocidal, in a war that takes the poor of this country and puts them against the poor of Vietnam.
And we keep it together, and I know everybody feels fine, but we maintain the same good, solid discipline that has brought us, you know, so far and kept us all together. We go to the campsite tonight to keep up that discipline, and I don't know how that's up to Tom how he's going to set up the security, but that we maintain the same flexible and good discipline that we've had up until now.
Yeah, and when we get to Tucson, on the east side of Tucson, you guys think it over. If anybody'd like to volunteer to shoot out ahead, they can. We're going to have to send a recon vehicle out ahead to scout Bowie and find out the campground. You want to do that? Blow up.
You're fired.
On to Miami.
I know who the enemy is. I mean, I can see it. The enemy is someone who would lie and deceive. The enemy is someone who would massacre other people continuously, daily. I mean, we're going to the enemy on this trip right now. We're willing to go 6,000 miles, 3,000 miles there and 3,000 miles back for 3 or 4 days, you know, to tell the American people that they've been lied to and that they've been deceived, and that what this president is doing is committing crimes against humanity in their name, in our name, and that we're sick of this war and that we don't want to see it go on another day. to this day. Laying there in that C-130 and all these wounded people around me, some of them not alive anymore, and others just screaming, you know, screaming for dope, screaming for morphine, you know. And the longer I laid there, the more confidence I began to, you know, gain in thinking that I would come out of this whole thing alive. And so I just lay there and I tried to breathe, began to feel this tremendous happiness inside of me that I was alive, you know, that I had made it out of there. And nothing really seemed to matter, all the screaming people and my wound and everything. Just the fact that I could still see and I could still feel, you know, I was still alive. Just that I was alive. It was really a trip becoming paralyzed. You know? When I got shot, I took a round through the foot and I went down on my hands and knees and I got up again and then I couldn't stand up anymore. Then I took a round through the shoulder and then this guy came up to get me and they killed him. They shot him through the heart and he fell down on my legs. Then a black Marine came up and he threw me over his shoulder, and by that time Sir Rossi was dead and Farmer had his finger shot off and Beeson was shot in the ass. We were just laying out in the open, you know, just like on the beach or something, you know, on the sand. The man in back of me is already dead, trying to get me. And then this Marine picks me up, throws me over his shoulder, and he runs me back. He's taking fire all the way.
By the time we reached Austin, Texas, we realized we were under constant surveillance from Secret Service, local police, state police, and FBI.
This is a Secret Service agent we're looking at now, BLV 33. We don't know what he's doing here.
And a lot of people got hit by a car, by a sightseer.
Not serious.
Got hit by a car. It wasn't serious. We called an ambulance to check him out. Police came instead and busted one of our own veterans for carrying a little knife, completely forgetting about the kid and worrying about this little knife that he had. Took him off to jail and busted him. So that's what we're dealing with right now.
Is he back now?
No.
The guy who was...
No, he's in jail right now.
Waiting about an hour and a half for you guys to show up, you know, because I got my own film deadlines. And so I knew he was Secret Service, so I went back there and said, hey, when are those people going to get here? And he says, oh, about 45 minutes, so why don't you get some chow?
Yeah. And the lawyer's with the dude upstairs, and the pigs say that they won't have anything, no comment or anything for at least 25 minutes before they'll even discuss what the matter is. And Peter says the ABC News team just got over there also, and they want to interview the lawyer, so they're waiting on that. So they're going to stay on the scene and find out, you know, what the situation is over there.
They got a report. Someone just said they got a report from California that were carrying automatic weapons.
Oh, that's it. Again, we've had a report before we left California.
He didn't say anything about that. I asked him if there were any warrants for anybody here, and he said that they're not arresting anybody. They just want to watch.
Okay, well, we can well afford to waste 20 minutes to wait for this brother.
Exactly.
We can well waste.
What can we do in those 20 minutes?
We can all go sit down by our trucks and just sit and rap with each other and relax, you know.
I make a suggestion that number two, the people in this convoy who are very confused right now, after we hold this meeting, we get them together. We tell them exactly what's going on, and we let them know that we want them to know what's going on.
We can do that up by the parking area if we can.
And we know that people were confused, but we're trying to work things out, and we're going to try to have it not happen again at the next stop.
All right. Oh, wow. What they give you? 15 years?
Probation.
A lot of bullshit.
They got you
They booked you or they just let you go?
Oh, they booked me. I took my, mug shots and the whole trip.
Let's get out of this fucking city, bro.
What
Back to jail.
Did you get bonded?
Don't really
Right on, brother.
Got to put it in the trunk, that's all. No knives on our person.
We tried to explain that to the pig, but he wouldn't listen.
I know.
He was a pig. Instead of a police
he
officer,
blew
he
it,
was
man.
a pig.
Like, the people, picked up on where it's at. Like, they know. And, like...
He said, it'll all be in a police report. And I said, bullshit, I got to read it. And I went like that, and I got the names of the 3 pigs that were there. Far out, and all that shit. The reporter... And then he says, look, don't get loud and rowdy with me. He says, you don't want to do that with me. Like he's some kind of a god or some shit,
Hey, Bingo. The lady from ABC TV says, she'd been waiting for us all morning, and when they got tired around noon, she called the FBI and asked them where we were, and the FBI told them accurately that we were traveling at 35 miles an hour, 35 miles out of town.
Hey, listen, I know it's great to have the brother out, but we got to get our shit together and get back in. Let's get on the road. Everybody, let's get out of here now.
Guy, Doc Allen, who was a black medic with me, and I was senior corpsman of my company at this time, and Doc Allen came in complaining about his knee being really sore, and it was, but we were so short of medics that I told him he'd have to go back into the field again, and he did, and that night he got killed in a night ambush, and I felt really close to this guy. I felt the next morning when they told me that he got killed, I felt very guilty because I sent him back out to the field again. And I guess the combination of my friend Bob Casey getting killed, I started shooting up with morphine and did this for the rest of the time that I was in Vietnam. When I came back from Vietnam, I had 56 morphine syrettes taped to my leg, made it through customs, landed in San Francisco. A young woman came up to me and called me a killer, even though I personally did not take or did not shoot anybody in Vietnam. She called me a killer. I had only been back less than 2 weeks, was still addicted to morphine. Went to the first big anti-war demonstration in San Francisco.
Why did you go?
I had seen what Vietnam had done not only to the Vietnamese people, but also to the American people. And I was really for peace. But I really couldn't identify with any peace group. When I went to this peace demonstration, it was the same thing again, of people getting up there and saying that American soldiers are killers. Yeah, we killed in Vietnam, but people have to realize that if you're in a firefight, there's no such thing as putting down your rifle and saying, hey, you're for peace, because you're going to get blown away. And when I went to this peace march and I heard, again, these people calling soldiers killers, it completely blew my mind. So I went down to the San Francisco Bay Ocean, took the rest of my morphine syrettes, threw them in the ocean, flew to Philadelphia, which is my hometown, got in with a couple of buddies that I had grown up with, took a hotel room, about 24 bottles, more than that, how many bottles now, of Robitussin AC. It's a cough medicine with codeine in it, and 2 boxes of Baby Ruth candy bars, and kicked the habit that way. Yeah. But still could not get involved in any anti-war movement until, I guess, Cambodia.
Each state police office of the states we were to pass through were contacted by registered letter of our route, stating we were not armed and had no contraband and would obey to the best of our knowledge all the state laws. The Louisiana State Police met us at the state line and escorted us all the way through their state, remaining overnight at our campsite.
Convoy relieves some of the guilt feelings I feel for what I did in Vietnam. Before I left Vietnam, my company was doing a search and destroy mission, and on this search and destroy mission, we hit some heavy NVA fire, heavy mortar shelling, and some women and children got wounded about 25 meters from me. I was behind a rock. I was pretty well protected. I could hear them screaming and yelling, and I didn't go out to help them because I only had 2 more weeks to go before I went back to the world, and I wasn't taking any chances at all.
We kind of gathered.
The Vietnam veterans against the war going to Miami. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think everyone has a right to express what they feel. And I'm glad to see that America's doing that. So,
they're going to the Republican convention.
They should go if they want to.
Do you think they have a right to protest against the war?
Sure.
How do you feel about the war?
I really don't know everything about it, so I really can't say whether it's right or wrong. I don't like to see the men get killed, no.
Well, what about the Vietnamese? I mean, do you have sympathy for the North Vietnamese who are getting killed?
I have sympathy for anyone who gets killed.
We should go in there and finish it or get the hell out. One of the two, you know. Quit messing around.
Did you notice the convoy that just went past?
No.
The cars? It was a group of Vietnam veterans against the war who are going to the Miami Republican Convention to tell people where they're at.
Yes.
How do you feel about
French
that?
And I have nothing to do with the Vietnamese war.
All they're doing is, you know, killing up everybody, you know, for somebody else, you know. Well, I mean, why they need to be here, you know.
What do you think of the veterans going to Miami to protest against the war?
No, nothing at all about any veterans going to Miami to protest the war. It's the first I've heard of it. What about it?
Loud noises, I jump, and it's just a couple of seconds of pure hell, and it just, all these things race through my head when I hear loud noises, and it's bad, you know, and it takes time for that stuff to wear off. Sometimes, you know, when you're sleeping and things, if somebody comes up and they touch you, and for a while it was really bad. Like, I heard, you know, a couple of people, relatives of mine, you know, just grabbed me, you know, and I hurt them, you know, because I broke a couple of fingers, and I smacked some people in the mouth, you know, just because they just come up and touched me while I was sleeping, and I was really jumpy, and bam. You know, I reacted, and then after I reacted, I realized who I was reacting on, and I realized where I was, and that I wasn't in Vietnam anymore, that I was home.
East meets west. The New York convoy joins us outside Daytona Beach.
Tired. I don't know.
When did you arrive?
A couple minutes ago. I don't want you to go. You should
Yes. How was it?
Well, we drove straight through from last night.
In Yassel and the where? In Yassel? In Yassel.
Only in Florida. What'd they do? We were following some other people, and they were picked up as soon as they came into Florida. And they were followed for a while by this highway patrol that just was right behind them, so we just like moved in and out for a while. And then pulled off at a rest stop, and then the cop came and sat there for a while, and then left, and then so we were playing games, and then he came back, and then that's no good. This ones are better.
Oh, that's it.
Or the back. The back's much better.
The back.
Or the right shoulder.
Been a long time since I've been there. watched all those people die. Been a long time since I've been there. Been a long time since I died. They said, go out there, boy, do it. Dress me up in pretty green. Said, go out there and do it. Go out there and live our dream. So I walk myself across the river. Shook hands and smiled at the faces too. I was gonna do the thing now they all really wanted me to. Really wanted me to. Really wanted me to. Those people, they were strange now. Call each other dong and how. They were people just the same now. And I felt a fool somehow. Oh, I felt a fool somehow. Felt a fool somehow. No, I couldn't stop my song now, and I couldn't stop and play my own way. I had to go on. I lived on through it, so I could come back to feel this way. I walk myself across all America, shook hands and smiled at the faces. I was gonna do the thing now they all really wanted me to. Really wanted me to.
As we chanted and yelled and raced towards Flamingo Park to join our brothers and sisters, other veterans decided to walk in the blazing sun from 13 miles outside of Miami. Hopefully, we would join together at the same time.
Who else comes down, man? George comes down? New York?
No, George and Jack didn't, but everybody's down, man. Ergo, Hubbard. Everybody's
Tom was marching.
Lloyd is down there. Did you see Margot? You know Margot?
She's down here too?
Yeah, but she's missing.
Second thing is there'll be a direct civil disobedience.
It involves people will choose whether they want to go in for civil disobedience or not. Something like what occurred at May Day. Remember in Washington? We can discuss, whether we want to do civil disobedience or not.
What that would consist of is, locking arms and blocking streets and stopping buses and completely boycotting the whole convention center. So that the delegates and
What else? Okay, so 23rd then will be the last day.
Right.
Well, that doesn't seem like we're doing too much here built around the convention.
Wait a minute. Let me go on, and then you'll see where more stuff comes in, okay? Also on the 23rd is we're going to have some Mayday tactics.
Listen, on what we're doing here, we're going to have a meeting right after we're done here, call all of our people together and tell them this stuff before we go to that 10 o'clock meeting.
Mm-hmm. Idea?
Yeah. It's going to be tight.
Get some orange.
Well, we can do it.
Yeah.
Well, I know we can do it, but the people are going to have a lot of input, They're going to want to comment a lot.
And we can close our own ranks, too, if we want to accommodate them.
I think we did that.
Go ahead, brother. Finish it.
Right.
I think we have enough room right here, right now, without taking the vehicles off the lot to fit the brothers and sisters.
We're tripping over each other.
If the fact is, well, this is, man, we're going to make a sacrifice, first of all. We're here to show the fucking pigs unity, man. And the more unity, the better. So if we have to trip over each other, I don't care. I'd rather trip over my brother just as long as I don't hurt him,
Right.
Second proposal is that we participate in the actions that the Miami Conventions Coalition has planned. And I said it before, that's all the CD, and they sit in. Now, the only problem with this proposal is getting the people out of jail and the bail money.
I was just down there last night at the Dade County jail with six or seven of the other brothers, and they're not fucking around with $10 fines down there, brothers and sisters. They're talking about $50 a hit for anybody they put in there. It cost us $275 to get everybody out last night. But if you don't have the money to get out of jail, there's a good possibility that you're going to be sitting down there. Now, I want you to keep that in mind. I'm not talking down the mobile tactics. Understand that, because I feel exactly like my brother did just a moment ago. If you have the money to back this sort of thing, if you know where that money's coming from, I say right on, let's get out there and do that shit.
I love him. I'm a veteran myself.
Now, bring our brothers home now.
I'm with them 100%.
We all been there. We all got honorable discharges. We all got medals and all that bullshit. And the people know that we're not, Russian agents or something like that. No, we're not trying to cause any trouble or nothing, but we just want to tell the people that...
Let the world know.
Right, we want to let the world know that the people who fought the war and who you can't say are subversives or communists or draft dodgers or cowards think it's wrong, too.
Served 8 months in Nam, got hit in April 69, shot through the chest. 6, 7, 8, organized clandestine, 9, 10, 11, 12, free our sisters, free ourselves!
The real American you are, and the others are against a better America, and a better life for the poor, for the elder. Those who are against you are not Americans. We all know that, don't worry. Most of the older people know that you are the real Americans.
You don't understand we're flying the flag of the enemy war. America against the war, great. We have no right to be in Vietnam. Demonstrate politics and get out of Vietnam. I agree with 100%. But don't fly the enemy's flag.
Let's kill the people. 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 Far away,
crazy people. American is food for no international.
Mexican people! Mexican people!
International communism. Nobody can do protest in communist country. Nobody can do demonstration. Nobody. When you do demonstration, you never go for America. You never go to jail. You want to see everyone. Here's what you're over there.
Babies keep on dying. Babies keep on dying. Babies keep on dying. Babies keep on dying.
We expect this, it's just that we don't like the obscenity connected with it. Otherwise, we have no objection to the protest and demand.
Air Force needs to fall. Free Billy Smith. Free Billy Smith. Free Billy Smith. Free Billy Smith. Babies keep on dying. 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 And nobody seems to care. 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 Free Billy Smith. Free.
The VVAW came to Miami not to try to influence the Republican convention because we know that scenario was written 4 years ago and that there is no means of influencing that. What we came here for was to expose it and to ask a few basic questions of the American people.
I sit in this county jail, and I look around at me, and all of a sudden this Chicano brother, Peter, next to me says, what the hell are you doing in this jail? You sell some dope? You sell some cocaine? You murder somebody? And I said, I'm a criminal, I said, I killed Virginia Dick. I killed for democracy and freedom. I gave 3/4 of my money.
I also committed murder. When I came back from Vietnam, I can't cry anymore. I came back a morphine junkie. I'm off of morphine now, but I can't cry anymore. This brother here is more of a man than I am because he says he still can cry. I can't. And I would give anything in the world to be able to cry again. Because I really, really want to. Because I'm guilty for what I've done.
And you know, buddy, if they win,
they have one, man. They won 20 years ago.
You're going to be the first one against the wall because they know that if you're a traitor to your own country, they sure as hell can't trust you.
You're the traitors.
Nobody likes war. The way to get it over is to win it.
How would you like
so
your
why
house
don't we
bomb?
win it and get the hell out of
Who
here?
are you going to defeat?
Hopefully, guys like you.
There'll be a significant number of veterans who will be entering the convention hall, and we will first demand entrance. Then there are several of us that do have legitimate passes, so some of us will be in at some point.
Look at the fans and look at the police and ask the American gentlemen why they are afraid of the American people.
You're killing our children. We don't have shiny shoes and books by the suit, but we got the truth.
Murder! 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 Can't stop the truth! You 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 can't stop the truth! Incoming! Incoming!
They're fighting for justice and freedom and democracy.
Liars.
Liars.
Liars! 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 Liars!
Dusk fell each evening, and media attention centered on figures in the hall. Police began to arrest and gas citizens and veterans outside the hall. Particularly on the last night of the convention, as Agnew and Nixon spoke, outside the hall was sheer hell. Over 1,000 persons were arrested.
Try to tell those crazy people inside there to stop this war. What do? They run us over, they kill us in the streets. So either they kill you in Vietnam, or they kill you back home in the streets. You can't win as a Vietnam veteran in this country. Goddamn crime. That man inside there is a lunatic. That man inside there is a criminal. We saw it in Vietnam, and we see it here in the streets right now. Crimes. Our brothers are being brutalized, broken in the streets, and they're being killed in Vietnam right now. Now that man is crazy, and these people in here, these delegates, they are representing a man who is committing crimes against humanity. I gave 3/4 of my body in Vietnam. My brother doesn't have to get knocked down into the streets here. For what? Black in the railway! I come to you with the truth tonight, based on my experiences in Vietnam. I do not come to deceive you. I come only to let you know the facts. And I ask you to join me in my protest. Come over this line and sit with me if you feel this war in Vietnam is a crime.
Not me! Stop the bombing! Stop the bombing! Stop the bombing! Killing women and children! Stop killing your women! Do they hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me, people? Do you hear me when I say this war is a crime? Do you hear me when I say that I am in pain from this war? Do you hear me when I say I am not as bitter about my wound as I am bitter about men who had lied to the people of this country? Do you hear me tonight? Can I break through your complacency? Can I break through your solid wall of complacency tonight? Can I have an inch? Can I have a moment of your compassion for the human beings that are suffering?
He has spoken out to those who ask nothing of government except freedom and protection. Both old and young, like those thousands who are in this hall tonight, who are not willing to sacrifice their individuality to a category or for a quota from some social engineer in Washington. He has spoken for those who ask not for a free ride or some, but work for all. He has spoken for those who love their God, their family, and their country.
I walk myself across all America, shook hands and smiled at the faces. I was gonna do the thing now they all really wanted me to. Really wanted